Okay, in this video we're going to show you how to change the drive roller on the BMP bike engine kit. This kit here has a 43cc Chinese engine installed on it. I prefer the Honda GX35 or the Robin Subaru EH035, which are both 4-stroke engines, excellent engines. A little bit less power than this one, but still enough power for this application. You can change the drive roller with the kit on or off the bike. We're going to show you how to do it with it on the bike and just explain a little bit about the drive system as well. I'm just going to go ahead and start up this engine so you can listen to the difference between a 2-cycle and a 4-stroke in some of our other videos. Again, 2-cycle is going to be a little bit louder, still a lot quieter than a weed trimmer engine or, of course, a chainsaw engine. But again, the 4-stroke is the quietest engine out there. Okay, now we're going to show you how to change the drive roller on the kit with the kit still mounted on the bike. You're always going to want to do this with the kit locked off the tire, so lock it off the tire as it is there. Now, there's 2 different steel drive rollers that the kit uses, and there's 2 different diameters as you see here. There's a 1-inch standard drive roller and a 1.25-inch diameter one-way bearing drive roller. Now the 1-inch drive roller is attached to the shaft using 2 set screws. The 1.25-inch diameter one-way bearing roller automatically locks onto the shaft, and there's a shaft collar on each side which prevents it from sliding sideways. Now when you get your kit, this is how it looks when it arrives. So basically that's what you're seeing here with the engine mounted on it. The first step is to remove this black rubber cap that's on the end. Usually just pull it off. If not, you can pry it off with a flathead screwdriver. You're going to need an external snap ring pliers. On the end there's an external snap ring. It's a 1/2-inch diameter shaft, so simply remove the snap ring. Make sure not to lose any parts. Then you're going to remove your outer drive shaft collar, which uses a 9/64 hex wrench. Simply unloosen that. It's going to be a little bit tight, and that should slip right off. Now your next step, there's a bearing on the end here that should pop out. Sometimes it's pressed on a little bit harder than others, but usually it pops right out, as you see here. So there's your bearing. Again, be sure not to lose that. So now you see here the shaft is kind of just hanging in place by only one bearing on the engine side. So now what you need to do is, this kit has a standard drive roller on it right now, so we need to unloosen the set screws and then slide it out. So that's going to be our next step. Okay, I went ahead and unloosened the drive roller that's on the kit right now, which is the standard drive roller, which is just a separate one you're seeing here. And this uses, again, 2 set screws, and you're going to be using a 3mm hex wrench for this one. So I unloosened the 2 set screws under there, and this should be able to slide out just like that now. Just slide it right out. And you see the drive roller has a dirt imprint there. That's really just the dirt from the tire. It's going to do that. That's no problem. It's still going to maintain a nice grip to the tire. Now here's just a shot of the shaft as it sits on the kit in this area right here. So basically your drive roller just slides onto your shaft like that, and it gets tightened down with 2 set screws. That's for the standard drive roller. Now the 1.25-inch bearing drive roller is a self-locking drive roller, so it spins freely in one direction and locks in the other. So it'll slide onto the shaft whichever way you slide it on, but it's only going to work properly in one direction. And we have it marked with some red marker there as to which side is the correct one, but if it's spinning, if it's on incorrectly, you'll notice right away, because the engine will just spin. So simply you would just reverse that and put it on the other way. But first you're going to put your shaft collar on, then your drive roller slips right on, your other shaft collar. And then when that's centered up after it's mounted, you're just going to tighten down those shaft collars, and it's going to prevent the drive roller from going side to side. And again, that's going to spin freely in one direction and then lock in the other. So now that the standard drive roller is off the kit here, again, you're going to want to keep your shaft pulled out, because you can move it back and forth. As you see here, the clutch drum is moving. You want to keep it pulled out, opposite side of the engine. Slide your first shaft collar in, and your drive roller, make sure it's in the right direction. Then your other shaft collar, and pull it out all the way again. Now you're ready to pop in your bearing. You're going to kind of have to hold this in place. You can kind of just hold the clutch drum right there and take your bearing, and it should pop right on. Sometimes it's a little fussy, but you're usually able to pop that right on, push it all the way in, pull your shaft collar, pull your drive shaft out all the way. Put your shaft collar, your drive shaft collar back on the end. Before tightening that, usually I just like to get that snap ring on there, leave that loose. So again, make sure to put your half-inch external snap ring back on the end. That's just a little added protection in case the shaft collar comes loose. That'll actually hold it into place even without the shaft collar. And again, you want to make sure it's pulled out all the way. And you can tighten down your shaft collar again with your 9/64 hex wrench. Make sure the drive shaft collar is nice and tight. And just make sure everything's rotating freely, nothing's rubbing, or you don't hear any scraping. And then our next step is going to be to center up the drive roller in between the channel here, and just tighten down the two shaft collars to prevent it from going side to side. You don't want to press the shaft collars too tight against the drive roller to prevent it from having too much friction against the collars. When you're all done with that, you make sure you put your rubber cap back on the end. It's just going to prevent any injuries in case that thing's scraping, in case your fingers scrape on it. And so usually just presses right on, and it's pretty much ready to go. You're always going to want to test it before riding. Of course, start the engine, rev it up, make sure nothing's rubbing, and this should be nice and tight. This shouldn't be slipping back and forth, which it is. It's nice and tight here, so that was successful. Okay, we went ahead and started the engine just to make sure everything is rotating properly, which it is. It might sound a little bit loud because the engine is actually pretty close to the camera here and the microphone. But again, the difference between your two drive rollers, you see here your 1-inch standard and your 1 1/4 inch diameter one-way bearing roller. As far as the diameter goes, the smaller the diameter, the 1-inch roller is going to give you more low-end power. So it's going to give you more power for the heavier rider, but a little bit less top speed. The 1 1/4 is going to give you less power, but more top speed. So it depends on the engine you're using, the weight of the rider, but both are going to work fantastic.